Good morning, everybody. It's 10 past 11. Chris left about 10, just after 10. We're going to slowly, very slowly start to pack up and head to the next camp. I was almost tempted to stay here this evening as well, because it's about 7 or 8 kilometers to the car, and camp is maybe 4 or 5 kilometers from here, assuming that I pitch up where I did last time with Chris. I was kind of thinking for that extra short distance, could just as well stay here and relax here for the night, but there's no phone signal, and I ought to try and get into a phone signal area, phone home, and I think I'm just going to very slowly pack up over the next couple of hours, try and be gone about 1. I don't know whether I'll be gone at 1, but I'll aim for about 1, I think. It's been a very enjoyable trip, absolutely shattered. The first day we did 15 odd kilometers, and I was literally just stumbling on jelly legs at the end of the first day, first long day. Yesterday we did 10 kilometers, and I got into camp, and it was literally as much as I could do to get the shelter up, and I said to Chris, could he get my water for me, because I really don't think I would have I don't think I'd got over to where the water was, to be honest. I literally was, my head was starting to, I felt very heady again. It's been a long time since I've done walking like that, so I definitely going to need a break from any long walking like that. So if you watch this, Chris, if we do something again in the future, I think we need to keep our walks to sort of 8 to 10 kilometers, sort of at a pinch. Maybe Glen Fishy at a low level walk or something. And I was kind of hoping that we would have time to sort of sit in camp and maybe do 1 or 2 little chatty videos or something, but basically we didn't get to do that this time, but another time. But this is not a bad camping spot. It's not ideal. It's quite damp around, but that's not really a problem. I found a dry spot, slightly raised. The only trouble is I'm literally sitting on a lump, which is not the most comfortable, but it is unbelievably mild. You know, we're up in Scotland. Before I came up here, I said to Chris, you know, what will I need? And he said, you know, there could be snow, there could be anything really. So basically when I came up here, I packed this, I'm still in it. This is my -5 bag, and both last nights I was able to sleep in just my t-shirt, leggings and socks, and I was very, very comfortable like that, and even had the zip partly undone. It was literally that mild. I was quite surprised, but like I said, before coming up, Chris said, you know, it could snow, so I put in my -18 bag as well, but it's just left it in the car, and I had a couple of nights journey getting up here. So the plan really was that, you know, if there was any chance of that type of thing, then I had a warmer sleeping bag, so I was covered. I brought my Paramo jacket, but I left that in the car, and I just wore my Gore-Tex jacket. But we've had some very, very nice weather. You know, to be honest with you, it's been it's been perfect. I don't know what the barometer is doing today. Chris obviously looks at his all the time. I rarely think about it or remember. Someone was asking about this. I don't know if that person ever watches my videos, but my battery for this just showed 0%. You can, I don't think the battery indicator on this is very accurate. I think you can almost ignore it, you know. I think if batteries are critical with the Kestrel, then always carry spare batteries with you. But if they're not really too critical, like, you know, it's not that critical for me here, you know, don't worry about it. But like I said, if it's really critical, just carry spare batteries anyway, especially maybe after 6 months or something like that. But this literally showed 0%. But when I look at it again later on, it'll probably show 20% or 30% or 100% or whatever. So I don't think the battery indicator is particularly accurate. So the pressure here is 940, but we can't really tell anything from that until we go into data. I mean, it has gone up a bit, not much, but a bit. So we got here at, say we were here at 7 o'clock last night, 937 millibars, and it stayed around about 937. 6 o'clock it was still. So at 7 o'clock this morning it went up to 938. So it stayed pretty consistent all night. And then at 9 o'clock this morning it was 939. So it stayed consistent all night. And then at 7 o'clock this morning it went up 1. At 9 o'clock it went up another 1. And now it's 940. So the air pressure does appear to be climbing. That's handy, that's good. We've actually got a bit of sun, so maybe if I wait here another hour and a half, and I think it's going to take at least, I haven't done a breakfast or anything yet. That's the next thing to do. But at least the air pressure is climbing, so that's a good sign. But yeah, it's been a tough couple of days climbing. Going through Glen Feshie in itself is a fairly easy walk. It's a long walk, and it's quite a long, steady climb up. But it is a steady climb up. It's not steep. It is a long, steady, relatively easy walk, to be honest. I mean, it really, you know, as long as you've got some degree of fitness, it's not that bad. It's just relentless. It just goes on and on and on. And I was hoping that we would find somewhere to camp, you know, I must admit, a bit sooner than we did. And there was just nothing. Even Chris was surprised. It's been so wet that all the possible places are just boggy. And when you look around you, it's just tussocks and heather. It's really quite difficult. I was surprised how difficult it was to find somewhere. I nearly brought the super mid. To be honest, I think the super mid would have gone over some of these places, you know, because there's not that many boulders around, and well, there are, but I think where I've camped, the super mid would have fitted, and then you just would have put your bed in the most appropriate place within it. But yeah, it was a tough. And then yesterday we had to come off this Lurcher's Crag. Oh God almighty. I don't know whether that was as difficult as coming down the Rinogs, but I reckon it was. It wasn't much in it. I mean, that was definitely clambering over one stone and another stone and another, well, a rock, not stones. The problem that I have now is that because I don't have the fitness that I had several years ago, plus I'm you know, a bit older than I was a few years ago. The knees and the joints and the bones and everything else, I don't want to, they're not as supple and bendy as they were. So what should be like an easy step down clearly means that by stepping down, the other knee joint is going to bend quite a bit, and my knees don't like bending a lot. They've turned into sort of straight knees, not bendy knees. So it wasn't easy getting down that, which meant, of course, we got into camp a lot later. At least we got into camp before it was dark, and we were pitching. Well, no, actually, to be fair, I think we were pitching in the dark. Or was there a bit of light? I don't know, I can't remember now. No, I think we were pitching with some light, just. No, we were. No, it was dark. No, I know, I was pitching in the dark. Because I saw a reindeer down there, and it was pretty dark then. And then I couldn't see anything. Yeah, I was pitching in the dark. All right, anyway, I'm going to stop waffling. I'm going to concentrate on trying to get moving. I brought my Petzl head torch with me this trip. I've given up on the other one. I just don't trust it anymore. So I've gone back to my very old Petzl head torch. Now, that flashed 2 or 3 times last night to indicate that the battery was getting low. So I actually on Amazon bought a battery for it, because the head torch itself is fine, although maybe the strap is starting to fray, you know, starting to age a bit, but the head torch itself is fine. So I actually brought, you know, a spare battery. So now I can charge one battery up like, you know, like this, and then, you know, use the head torch like that. I have a wire hanging down. But the other torch, it just gave up on me as well the other day, and I'm sure I charged it up. So I just don't trust it anymore. I use it for home, but out here, you know, I can't be, even if there is a way of checking, you know, whether the battery is low, medium or high by pressing something or looking at something. When you're out here and you're doing things, you're not going to be taking a torch off every now and again to see what level your battery is. But at least with this, it flashes like 2 or 3 times to indicate that it's getting low. I'm not quite sure what the flashing limit is. My guess is 25%. And it reduces its brightness a little bit. I think it's time to have porridge now, because it's 11:30. Like I said, I think 1 o'clock is not that realistic to get going, but really, I don't want to be too much later than 1. I mean, 2 would be okay, but I'll aim for 1, and we'll see how much we miss it by, because it'd be nice to get down to that other spot, because it's quite a big open spot, so it would be nice to nab a space. Chris said it's a Saturday, so don't be surprised if someone else turns up. But I mean, if they do, they do. I can't do much about that. He said have a nose on the way down, you might find something else. I don't think I will, but I will look. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to have my porridge, and I think I need to start putting away my power packs and things like that. I need to find the bag to put that in. Anyway, I'll see you in a minute. That's our last view. Sitting here for a while anyway. Up the valley up there. I've only seen those 2 people there walking past, although apart from the last, you know, maybe half hour, 45 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, I have been in the trailstar, so I wouldn't really have seen anyone, but that's the first people I've seen walking past. Packed everything away. I slept kind of across there. As you can see, it's not the most comfortable of areas. I'm not quite sure which lump I was sitting on, but there was something uncomfortable under me, but not too bad. So a view down the valley through there. So we're going to be going along the path there, and then that will eventually rejoin this river. And Lassie is already ready off, aren't you? So Lassie's ready for the off as usual. But as you can see, it's incredibly difficult to find somewhere to camp up here. I don't know whether you're, obviously we came down there, Chris, you'll probably watch this. There's a little area just over there, literally just in there. I don't know whether that's any good or not. I can't tell from here. What looks good from afar is not any good when you actually get down to it, because when we were up there looking down, we could see this green area here, and it looked up there like it might be, you know, a possible place with quite a few flat areas, but as you can see, it's very difficult pitching terrain here. It's wet, heather everywhere. It's not easy. Anyway, so last night we eventually found this spot, and it was dark. I think we found it at the last the last few seconds of twilight, I think. What have you found? Have you found water there, have you? I'm not surprised there's some water up here. It's like where you spent half your night wallowing in there. It's like where you were in there. Go on then. Go on then. Go on then. Lassie. We really do need to get going, Lassie, because it's coming up to 2 o'clock, and I said it'd be good to try and get going by about 1, although 1 o'clock was more of a, we need to try and get a bit of a move on 1 o'clock. If I'd have said 2 o'clock, then we probably wouldn't have got going until 3 o'clock or something. Anyway, so that's where we camp. We didn't get a view up there because, of course, the wind was going in that direction, so we didn't get the view, but you can see it now. We flew the drone up there earlier as well. Lassie, come on, up here a minute. Actually, Lassie, come on, come here. Go down that way. Go down that way. Go on then. Go on then, you're going that way. Go. Water collecting time. I had to get Lassie down this side because she was splashing upstream of me as usual. Watch my pocket very slowly. Drop my phones. That was clever. luckily, luckily they're both waterproof. Oh God, honestly, no hope. Yeah, both wet. That one's okay, and that one's okay. Obviously, there is absolutely no reason whatsoever to filter your water. This is straight off the mountains. But obviously, you better filter your water because that's what everybody tells you to do. So obviously, you better filter your water. Okay, Lassie. Good girl. Okay, well this is the basic setup here. I've got quite a high central pole to give me lots of internal space, and I've pitched it quite close to the ground here and here. Obviously if you want it, you know, a lot closer to the ground, then just have your center pole lower, but I'm not exactly expecting very much in the way of wind in this forest. But I have pitched it kind of that way and low this side, just in case anyone else comes and camps in here, because you can't really object too much. You know, if someone pitched up over there or something. Hopefully no one will. It's October, Saturday, so you can't rule it out, but this is quite limited. There was some tall grass over there where I was tempted to pitch, but it's very tall and very wet, and I just wanted, you know, something for once that was flat and dry for this evening. So we might get someone coming along, I don't know, but we're covered. So like I said, I've deliberately pitched that side. You know, fairly low, and then this side is higher for airflow and what have you there. That's the inside there. So we've got it quite nicely laid out there. I've got my ground sheet down. I've taken the covers off the phone so they can dry. I've just obviously got to bring the pack over. I've put my foam mat partly under the ground sheet just to protect it from this ground a little bit. I think it's fine, but I don't bother with footprints. But if you've got a foam mat which you're taking anyway, then rather than wasting weight and space with a footprint, just put your foam mat under your ground sheet if you want a little bit of added protection. And realistically, you don't need to protect over there because you're not putting any weight on it apart from some gear and that type of thing. So the only bit that you might want to protect is, you know, is directly under where you're under where you put your big fat arseholes, you know, where there's a it's insulted all my subscribers now, but basically, you know, it's only where you're putting your bums and hips and thighs and elbows and shoulders and that type of thing. So it really is just that little bit that needs any protection, if you're going to want to put some protection under there, you got a foam mat, put a foam mat underneath. So I've got two with me, a black one and that one. The black one fell apart, so that little bit sticking out is the bit that tore off, and then the rest I've got underneath. Okay, let's unpack. So I've got a nice little chocky. I could do with a chocky today. It's been a really tiring tiring walk, so I think I deserve chocky snacks today. So we'll put those there to one side. I'll take the map out so it doesn't get damp depending on where I put the pack. Alright, I've done a couple of small flights, so we'll put that there. Rubbish, remember to take all your rubbish with you. That's my warm fleece, not my warm fleece, that's my warm down jacket. Crackers, because I'm obviously crackers. Teacup we'll put there. Crackers we'll put there. Batteries we'll put there for now. Chesty, that can go over there. Weather torch. I always put the torch in the top left, unless I don't, but generally speaking, I always put my torch in the top left hand corner of my inner. So basically, if I'm fumbling around in the dark trying to find my torch, then I know where it is, because that's like the one piece of equipment that you kind of really don't want to be putting somewhere and then forgetting where you put it. Everything else I tend to strewn about the place, but that is one thing that I do like to know exactly where it is. And then that's my nighttime and, you know, cold weather nighttime stuff. So basically in there I've got just in case it got extra cold and I wasn't sure what the weather was going to be like. That's why I brought the -5 bag. But you know, if it had been colder, and it's actually been very mild, it's been very mild. I don't think any evening has got colder than about 7 degrees, and every night, oh well, the first night I kept my shirt on, but every night I've slept in my t-shirt. I've been so warm in my -5 bag. But I did bring down booties and I did bring down leggings, plus obviously I've got my down jacket as well, you know, just in case they were needed, but they weren't. But better to have and not use than not have, especially going into winter. And then once I've got, you know, everything set up, the only thing I do have to do here a little bit differently is because this is a full length mat. It literally takes up the full length of this ground sheet. So when I'm sitting on the ground sheet, I do have to just mind that I'm going to have to shift a bit. And as usual on this trip, that's pretty much it for this day, please do check back for the last part, which is basically, you know, which is basically packing up, ready to head back to the car, and we will be using the Insta 360 for part of tomorrow, as in the next part. You will also notice here I have a video. We will see what it comes out like, setting up the Trail Designs Caldera Cone Sidewinder. Let's hope it works okay. Be sure to subscribe and like while I put some effort into doing some editing for you. I'll see you in the next one.